Hi, I'm Rob, and I want to tell you about a wonderful new alternative fuel source, hydrogen. It is the best way to eliminate CO2 emissions from all our vehicles. Imagine a world where we no longer depend on foreign fuel, and we're not polluting the air we breathe.
Wow, that sounds fantastic. How does it work? Is it safe? Will it cost me more money?
Hydrogen is the most abundant resource in the universe, but on Earth, it is usually found connected to other complex molecules like water and natural gas. In order to make hydrogen fuel, we have to remove the hydrogen from other materials. It is an environmentally friendly alternative to conventional fossil fuels since the only direct byproduct of their energy generation is heat and water. Hydrogen-powered fuel cells are also far more efficient than traditional combustion engines. Natural gas contains hydrogen, so the most affordable way to produce hydrogen fuel is to remove the hydrogen found in natural gas, since gas is cheap and plentiful due to a new process called fracking. This is where we reach down deep into the earth and extract the gas to later remove the hydrogen. Even though natural gas still produces CO2, using it to produce hydrogen fuel cells reduces the overall amount of CO2 in the atmosphere.
That's awesome!
Hydrogen fuel eliminates carbon dioxide from vehicle emissions, minimizing the levels of carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere. Hydrogen is separated from water, the most abundant resource on the planet. Hydrogen fuel engines operate silently and are more efficient than gas and diesel combustion engines. Since hydrogen can be produced anywhere there is water and a source of power, fuel can be generated and distributed easily and does not need to be grid dependent. This is what companies like Toyota, Honda, and Hyundai want to tell you. What they leave out is the basis for environmental and ethical concerns. While changing the emissions from carbon dioxide to water vapor may seem like a great idea, it is known that water vapor contributes at least 50% to the greenhouse effect, and carbon dioxide is only responsible for 20%. In other words, water vapor heats the planet faster than carbon dioxide. The water vapor and heat released from hydrogen fuel emissions could increase the global temperature at a much faster rate, so we would not be able to achieve fossil fuel independence with hydrogen fuel. Also, fossil fuel dependence will not drastically decrease since the fracking process is dependent on fossil fuels.
Hi there, and welcome to the year 2044. The world's population has increased in the past 30 years by 2 billion people. The lifestyle and needs are very much similar to what it was 3 decades ago. Hydrogen fuel cells are now used as a primary form of energy. Hydrogen fuel cells are used everywhere and have become essential in my everyday life. I need energy for powering my house, my building at work, and to drive my car. Global warming has become an even bigger issue and our days are hotter. The reality is, the water vapor that hydrogen fuel cells emits is a worse greenhouse gas than the CO2 produced from the older fuel sources. Not only that, but our drinking water has now become contaminated from fracking process. The pipes are sensitive to cracking, and once they crack, they leak out the fuel directly into our water. In addition, fossil fuels are being used to create hydrogen fuel cells, still being emitted into the atmosphere. Climate change has worsened. The promises that were made about the hydrogen fuel cells being environmentally friendly and clean were misleading.
As you can see, switching to hydrogen fuel cells could potentially be a bad move. It can have negative effects on the atmosphere. It can worsen our climate change, and it could potentially pollute our drinking water.
Well, it isn't our fault the Earth has become more polluted. We just invested in and found an alternative energy source that eliminated the carbon dioxide everyone was so worried about.
There's a big push to use hydrogen fuel cells, and many car manufacturers have already created hydrogen cars. It's important that we hold developers responsible, educate ourselves and the future generation about the realities of hydrogen-based cars, and on finding an alternative source of energy. We need to encourage our children to use their education as the backbone for future research and development. We also need to invest more time and money into finding alternative solutions, and less on alternative sources that may do more harm than good. Because as it stands now, hydrogen fuel cells are not the future. The future of alternative energy sources will be molded through education and research and development, an area where we need to invest more funding and encourage the youth to invest in.